Hello guys, welcome back to this interesting video. Today we're going to be checking out this video. It's titled Rich CEO's Wife Refuses to Pay Child Support. You won't believe her excuse. Let's quickly check this out together.
Your Honor, I do feel that he's trying to take advantage of my new relationship.
Okay, tell me about this new relationship.
Well, I can't really help who I have fallen in love with. So my new husband is a fantastic provider. However, I do get an allowance, and it isn't as much as you would think coming from. Well, my husband's a CEO of an energy company, so you would expect a huge allowance, but obviously he has to protect all of his hard-earned income.
What type of allowance do you receive?
About $500 a week.
Wow. $500
See the
a
way
week?
she's talking to a judge.
All right.
Okay.
Imagine wanting to leave your husband and your kids just to fall in love with another rich man. That's exactly what this girl did. Family courts are just like circuses where logic and fairness sit and watch the arguments in the battlegrounds. The real issue of the well-being of children is put aside to discuss irrelevant details. There, the ex-spouses come to wash their dirty laundry, and instead of focusing on what's better for the child, they satisfy their parental egos. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, we are here with another case of a noble mother who clearly has her priorities straight to her own pocket. She abandoned her child and found convenience in finding love with a rich CEO. She has clearly misplaced her instincts in the designer bags and gets $500 allowance weekly, which makes her $2,000 a month. Still, she is not willing to pay $300 and $400 in terms of child support and wants to put the burden on the child's dad, who is already paying a lot in terms of health insurance. A mere excuse she finds is that if he can pay a psychic, he can afford everything, because in her world, priorities are as flexible as her commitment to parenting.
That big a deal, obviously.
That big a deal in terms of the amount of money, or you paying child support for more in child support for the child living with him and having increased expense?
Well, I don't think it's that big a deal to Mr. Kennedy, because he has a pretty healthy income himself.
But you do understand his income does not have anything to do with an increase in what you should be paying in child support, right?
Yes, I understand that, but what I don't think has been considered yet is the fact that I set aside furthering my education, though I wanted to pursue that, so that he could go get his MIS degree and then a master's in something. So I'm not sure that it's fair.
The case. She is living with her rich husband, who is CEO of an energy company, and we can expect that his income could be millions of dollars a month. Who could believe that he gives only pennies to his beloved wife whom he loves? As she says she gets only $500 a week, it's clear her wallet is on a diet. Meanwhile, she is defending why she shouldn't have to pay more child support for her daughter. When she is asked to pay a bit more, she rants about her cash flow problem, rather than issue in adjusting. Her eye is on the ex-husband's income, which she calls a really healthy income. You know, income has nothing to do with child support and responsibility. She is ready to use every defense strategy, even if it seems like a bluff. Just like she complained that her husband's car cost $200,000, and her $500 weekly allowance is mere pennies.
How much money does your husband make?
I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a lot.
It's a lot?
I think so.
When you say a lot, is it like in the 200,000s, 300,000s?
Well, the car that he drives was about 200,000. So I'm thinking you'd probably have to
You
make
only
more
get a
than that.
$500 a week. You know what? That's not my business. That's not the reason I'm here. I'm not going to even entertain that.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'll just move on.
It's almost like she is playing financial gymnastics, flipping through her own budget while ignoring her daughter's rising expenses. The judge tries to clarify that her ex's spending on a psychic is irrelevant, which is probably a relief, given that it's hard to make a case for increased child support by invoking your ex's fortune teller's bill. In reality, she is more interested in protecting her personal budget than stepping up for her child's needs. It's a classic case of putting personal finances over parental responsibility.
Sir, do you know how much money her husband makes a year?
I don't, but he's the Steve Jobs of the town of energy, so to say.
So let me ask you this. Are you expecting her child support to be based on his Steve Jobs?
No, his success has nothing to do with me or my daughter or our daughter. And like I said, I just want a little more help because she is getting older. And if she's happily married with whoever and how big his wallet is, that is totally up to her.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's not what you were doing because you can't do that anyway.
So we have a dad who's trying to get a little extra financial support from the mom, who apparently has moved on to bigger and better things, namely a husband who's rolling in cash. But the mom, despite her new lavish lifestyle, is clinging tightly to her wallet. She is a stay-at-home mom now, which is perfectly fine. But the question is, why is she so resistant to contributing a bit more to her daughter's growing expenses? The dad, who's currently handling a fair share of the costs, including the insurance, is asking for some help. His point is pretty straightforward. Kids are expensive, and their daughter isn't getting any cheaper as she gets older. Sports, dances, and hanging out with friends all cost money, not to mention the fact that he is covering the insurance, which is no small thing at $130 a month. It's clear that she is a guy who's apparently the Steve Jobs of the energy world, driving cars that cost more than most people's homes. And yet, she is only getting a $500 weekly allowance. Sure, that sounds like a lot to most people, but in her world, it's not a big deal. Almost as if $500 a week is barely enough to keep the lights on in her mansion. Despite her new financial reality, she doesn't seem too eager to contribute more to her daughter's expenses. In fact, she is bringing up the fact that she had to set aside her education so her ex could get his degrees. Now, that's a classic move. She is trying to turn the tables to make it seem like she is the one who's been coming up with the expenses all along. But the reality is that she is paying nothing. It's almost like she is trying to cash in on some sort of deferred compensation for her past sacrifices, rather than focusing on what's best for their daughter right now. The judge, of course, isn't having any of it. The law is pretty clear. Child support is calculated based on the mom's income, not her new husband's wealth. So, the judge breaks it down in the most straightforward way possible. The mom's $500 separate a week allowance translates to about $2,000 a month. After the usual deductions, her child support obligation comes out to $266 a month. Plus, she has to chip in for the insurance, bringing the total to $396. Wow. What's most telling about this whole situation is the mom's reluctance to pay even this modest amount. It's not like she is being asked to empty her bank account. She is simply being asked to contribute something more to the well-being of her daughter. But instead of stepping up, she is more concerned about what she supposedly lost in the past, rather than what her daughter needs in the present.
In addition to the $266 a month for child support, you add the $130, your child support obligation monthly comes out to $396.
Can I say something?
Sure, but make it brief.
Okay, well, I don't know if he's still subscribing to the same psychic, but she charges, I think it's $412 a month.
Okay. And what does this psychic have to do with these numbers?
Well, because I just feel like if he can afford the psychic, then maybe he can afford the insurance. And I guess I feel that that is money that could have gone towards my education while we were married.
Okay, well,
Now the psychic drama is rolling in. She is bringing this up as if it's some sort of trump card, suggesting that if the dad can afford to see a psychic, then surely he can cover the insurance costs without her help. It's a strange argument to say the least. It almost feels like a desperate attempt to avoid paying her fair share, as if the dad's spending habits somehow absolve her of any responsibility. Just when you think you've heard it all, mom brings up the psychic. The dad has a psychic who costs him $412 a month. Mom thinks that if dad can pay for a psychic, he should be able to pay more for their daughter. It's as if she's saying, if he can see the future, he should pay for the present. Comparing a child's needs to a psychic bill is a pretty strange argument, to say the least. The judge doesn't buy it. They point out that whatever dad spends on his psychic has nothing to do with mom's responsibility to her daughter. It's like saying, since he bought dessert, I shouldn't have to pay for dinner. Nice try, but it doesn't work that way. The surprising part is how easily mom avoids taking responsibility. She's living in luxury, married to a man who drives a $200,000 car, but she's acting like she can't afford to help with her daughter. And remember, she's paying nothing in child support right now. So why isn't she willing to pay more? Maybe she's just being selfish. Mom seems more concerned with her own money, her past, and protecting her husband's wealth than with taking care of her daughter. Even though mom's new husband makes a ton of money money. Texas law doesn't care about his income when calculating child support. It only looks at what mom herself is raking in. And since she's getting a $500 weekly allowance from her wealthy husband, that's what the court uses to decide how much she should pay.
Okay, well, I've already said no to that. That has nothing to do with me. I mean, you should address that in your divorce, obviously. And whatever he pays, if he chooses to do that, that has nothing to do with your responsibility, your financial responsibility to your daughter. So if there's nothing further from either of you.
So finally, the judge makes the final decision, which is to require the mother to start paying child support, which she hadn't been paying before. The judge calculated her child support obligation based on the $500 weekly allowance she receives from her wealthy husband. The judge determined that she should pay $266 per month in child support, plus reimburse the father $130 per month for the medical insurance he pays for their daughter. This brought her total monthly obligation to $396. The judge made it clear that the mother's new husband's income wasn't relevant to the calculation, and the mother had to contribute her share, regardless of what her husband earns. The judge also dismissed the mother's arguments about her past sacrifices and the father's spending on a psychic, emphasizing that those points had no bearing on her responsibility to financially support her daughter. But wait, what if the roles were reversed and the dad was the one not paying a single dollar in child support? If he was seen claiming he can't afford to help out, all while living in luxury, we'd be hearing a very different story. The court would likely come down on him like a ton of bricks, demanding he step up for his child. But because it's mom with the wealthy spouse, she seems to think she should get a pass. Well, sorry, but kids aren't raised on air alone, as they say. No matter how you take it, taking care of your child should come before fancy cars and personal allowances. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was all for the case, and I am so excited to read the comments.
You guys, what do you guys think about that court ruling? I wasn't expecting her to pay $392 out of her $500. Oh my gosh. Out of her $500, I wasn't expecting her to pay that much. But do you guys think it is a fair ruling? I feel like as a mom, as a parent, let me not even say mom, as a parent, asking you to pay child support shouldn't be a big deal. It should come naturally because that's your child. Okay, it's not going in to take care of the spouse. No, it's for your child. So I don't think it's an unfair ruling. I feel like, and you know, they kept on saying, oh, the guy is her new husband, he's a Steve Jobs, he has money, he's wealthy, he drives a $200,000 car and all of that. Whatever her husband has nothing to do with her child. Her child's she's a stay-at-home mom, she's a full housewife, and the man, out of all his wealthiness, gives her $500 a week, right? So she was charged based on that weekly, which went down to $2,000 a month. So she has to pay. Okay, it's actually not much. Okay, I was thinking it was out of the 500. So out of the 2,000, she's going to pay $392. I don't think it's such a bad thing. I don't know why it is so difficult for people to actually pay for child support. Why do they have to bring you to the court, you know, to have to bring a judge, and you know, you guys will break down, wash your dirty linen in, like, why can't we just, this is your child, this is my child, and the child stays with the man, so all the responsibility of that child is on the man. So it is only fair, the right thing is just for her to actually, you know, pay child support. I mean, she's not saying, oh, he pays for. At first, I was thinking, what's a psychic? What's a psychic? Oh, somebody that sees the future. He actually pays $400 plus to see the future. That's a sign. Okay, that has nothing to do with the video, but I mean, it has nothing to do with child support. She's going to have to pay, whether or not. He just needs extra help, right, with child support. And I don't think it's a bad, because if roles were reversed, women will drag these men to court to make sure that they collect the dime. So there was this woman that took her husband back to court to ask for an extra allowance, because on the grounds that the man changed jobs, he now earns more. The judge had to cancel it. Like, why would you do that? Why? Do you get? So I feel like if roles were reversed, the situation will still be the same. they are usually charged child support based on, you know, what you earn. And she, because she's a full housewife, but she gets $500 a week, so she has to pay. Whether or not, she has to pay because she has to contribute. Anyway, let's know in the comment section what you think about this video. Is the court ruling fair? What do you think about the woman who is trying to protect her new husband's wealth? What do you think about the $500, you guys? What do you think about $500? Anyway, I'd love to know your responses in the comment section below. Do well to like, share, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.